Okay, right now I want you to try to make a list of people who matter in your life. You can write them down, you can just think about them in your mind, but try to make a list and name the people who matter to you. Who are they? Are they from church, from school, people on your team, family members? We all have a list of people that we could think that matter to us. And my guess is if we asked those people who mattered to them, you would hope that they named you. Now, names are important. They matter, right? They help us know who knows us more personally. When I went to Starbucks today, they didn't really know me. They totally butchered my name. My name is not spelled T-E-R-R-A. But it doesn't really bug me that much because I don't personally know the baristas at Starbucks. It doesn't matter to me. But if people on my list, if they actually forgot my name or didn't know how to spell it, it might bug me a little bit more because we have more of a personal relationship. Have you ever been in one of those situations where someone who should know your name completely forgets your name? It's awkward, uncomfortable, and it kind of makes you feel a little insecure, right? Like maybe you just don't matter. Or on the flip side of that, maybe the cool kid at school or the really popular girl in your dance class, they knew your name and it made you feel so good. Like, wow, I had no idea they knew who I was. There's something powerful about someone knowing our name. It helps us to be seen, to feel valuable, to feel like we matter. Now, all of us crave and desire to be known by other people. It's a natural instinct to desire to feel valuable, to matter, for people to know our name. But did you know that there is someone who actually sees that you matter, who actually values you and knows your name? Did you know that that's how Jesus sees you? Now, I get that some of you, as I'm saying this, go, I can't believe that. I mean, maybe you believe in God. Maybe you even believe that God created the world. But you may be questioning, how could the God who created all of this actually care about little old me? In fact, this is crazy, but there is this galaxy called the Sombrero Galaxy. Look at it. Isn't that crazy? Seriously, that's its name. And the Sombrero Galaxy is this lenticular galaxy in the constellation Virgo, found 31 million light years from Earth. The God that created that knows my name? That's hard to imagine. Or look at this, the Butterfly Nebula. That God who created that knows my name. Or even this last one, look at this one. The Pillars of Creations. It's made up of interstellar gas and dust in the Eagle Nebula. Specifically, the Serpens constellation, some 6,000, 7,000 light years away from Earth. The gas and dust are in the process of creating new stars. This is crazy cool to look at. But in all of us, when we look at that, we go, how is it that the God who created all of that, how is it that that God loves me? Cares about me, little old me in the midst of this huge, massive universe. Some of you may not even believe in God, and so it's weird to say, why do I need to believe in God? How would that actually change my life if God really did exist? So in this series, we're going to be looking at how with God, it's always personal. And we're going to be doing that by studying this interaction that Jesus had with a man named Zacchaeus. And we're going to be looking at the story over the next few weeks, but I want to give us a little head start this week. First off, we need to know that this comes from the book of Luke. This is found in the New Testament. And remember, Luke, he's the writer who literally went and interviewed people. He was trying to get firsthand eyewitness accounts of people and what they saw with Jesus. And so who knows, maybe he even interviewed Zacchaeus himself. But the thing that we need to know about Zacchaeus is he's a tax collector. This meant that he worked for the Roman government, and he probably was a Jewish guy, so people probably hated him. He was this Jewish person working for the Roman government, and the Romans kind of bullied the Jews. That's how we have to kind of see them. So people despised him. They were angry at him. He was not a very popular guy. And on top of that, Zacchaeus, like many other tax collectors, he took more money than he should from his people, which means he's kind of like the guy in your team who maybe stole the fundraising money, right? And just used it for himself. So first, when we look at this story, we need to remember he wasn't popular. He was despised, and people probably didn't see that he mattered much or had very much value. So now let's look at this story of what happens, okay? In Luke chapter 19, we see that Jesus is now entering Jericho. There's crowds of people wanting to come and see who Jesus is, including Zacchaeus. Now here's an interesting fact about Zacchaeus. He was extremely short. When you read in there, he was so short, he couldn't see over the crowd. So he goes and he runs and he climbs a sycamore fig tree trying to see if he could catch a glimpse of Jesus. But then the interaction takes place. This is what we read. When Jesus came by, he looked up at Zacchaeus and called him by name. "Zacchaeus," he said, "quick, come down. I must be a guest in your home today." Zacchaeus quickly climbed down and took Jesus to his house in great excitement and joy. Now, I love this interaction that Jesus has with Zacchaeus. I think it's fascinating because out of all of the people, Jesus chose this one random guy up in a tree to talk to. And it was the one person that everyone else despised and didn't like. He wasn't popular. But he doesn't just say, "Hey, you dude in the tree, I want to talk to you." He stops and he uses Zacchaeus' name. And in fact, when you read on in the story, everyone was kind of upset. They grumbled, "Why is Jesus talking to this guy? Why is he giving the honor of going to this house to him? He shouldn't do that," right? And we're going to learn more about that. But I think in this moment, the thing that I want us to catch is that Jesus was doing something in Zacchaeus' life by showing him he knew who he was. He doesn't just call, "Hey, you dude." He says, "Hey, Zacchaeus." He uses his name. He knew who Zacchaeus was. And in this moment, by using his name, by making it so personal, he was trying to tell Zacchaeus, "I see you. You matter. You have value despite what anyone else thinks, despite what you even think about yourself." And all of us, we can look at the story and go, "Well, what does this even matter to me?" But here, this is what I think it matters. I think the same thing is true of us, that Jesus sees you, that he wants you to know, "I know your name. I see you. You have value. You matter." You see, I think this is the bottom line. It's personal because Jesus knows your name. God is personal because he actually knows your name. He's not just this far off God who knows nothing about you and doesn't care. He cares enough about you that he knows even your name. In fact, even at the beginning of Luke, we see this verse that God even knows every number of hairs that are upon your head. You guys, how cool is it that the God of this entire universe, he sees you. He knows you and he sees all of you and says, "You are of value. You have worth. You matter. I know you." And he calls you by name. And when he's calling you, he's actually calling you to have a personal relationship with him. He wants you to live a life with him, a life that's personal. Now, knowing this, how does that change you? How does that change how you see yourself and how you see others? For some of you, you might go, "Wow, I actually want to have a relationship with this God. It makes me actually realize I want to believe in a God. I want to get to know him more." And for you, maybe you need to be like Zacchaeus and climb that tree, trying to get to see God and to know him more. Now, I don't mean a real physical tree, but maybe you need to start by asking some of the questions that you have. Maybe you need to reach out to your small group leader and tell him or her the things that you've been struggling with, the things that have kept you from having a personal relationship with Jesus. For some of you, it may be just trying to read more about who God is. Try reading this story of Zacchaeus on your own to get started. Now, for some of us, we already have a personal relationship with Jesus. We already know and we're learning and we're growing in our relationship with God. But let me ask you this. How does that impact others? There are a lot of people who are in your sphere of influence who don't know that God cares for them personally until you show that you care for them personally. Sounds really simple, but this week, try thinking of people who maybe aren't on your list, people who may not be on other people's lists, and try to just get to know them. Start by just getting to know their name. It could be a new kid at school, or the barista at your local Starbucks, or a person down the street from you. Get to know their name, and when you see them, just try using their name and see maybe how does that open up the opportunity for them to know that they are valuable, just like you've experienced God showing you that you have value. Pointing people to this kind of personal God starts by us being personal with other people. And that's one of the reasons why at Youth Group we have these small groups so that everyone has a place where they are known and they can get personal. And so we want to invite you, every single one of you, to come and join us at Youth Group so that you can be in a small group, so that you can be known and get to know this personal God more. I want to leave you with this one last question. How does it make you feel when someone knows your name?